Oh, hi there. Yeah, sorry, I didn't see you there. This is Jordan here from the Fourth Tier Fever podcast. Just something before we start this week's podcast. Recently, we found out that only 23% of viewers who watch our videos and podcasts on YouTube are actually subscribed to the channel. So that means a whopping 77% who watch our videos and pods on YouTube are not subscribed to the channel. So if you could hit that subscribe button, that will be hugely appreciated from everyone here at Fourth Tier Fever. We've got some cool stuff coming your way, so be sure to stay tuned for that. And also be sure to subscribe so you never miss when we upload a podcast or a video, whatever that might be. Like I said, we've got some cool stuff coming your way. If you could subscribe to the channel, I'm not sure whereabouts, here probably, that would be hugely appreciated. On with the podcast. Cheers. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Fourth Tier Fever. Not much to talk about this week in terms of League Two games, but if we're mentioning the FA Cup, load of goals, including the 8 that was scored at the Etihad. Hi, Jake. You okay, mate? With an 8?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm assuming that you had a great day yesterday. Happy birthday from the other day. Here's your present.
Yeah, it was a very nice present for Man City. Only the 8 goals. Could have been more. Didn't even let us score. Took him 8 minutes to score, which is quite ironic. But at least we didn't fall on the table because all the other games were called off. So that's right.
And yet the cherry on top was the fact that they were number 8 in today's draw.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of capped things off, really. Yeah, quiet weekend for ourselves. We've got Luke with us, very quiet. Their game was called off on Friday. So, they had a little bit more notice than what we gave Notts County fans on yesterday. But, you have a good weekend.
Oh, it's not been too bad. I mean, fair play to Carlisle. Yes, a bit tin-pot to call off a game, but they did it early, which I have so much more respect for them than I do for the other ones. Who was it? Barrow and Fleetwood. But I replaced it. I found another game to go to, and I chose the right one. I went to Leicester QPR. Lovely possession football and play, just like watching the Dons.
And how many goals were scored in that game?
Oh, I think it was 8. Was it 8? Yeah, it must have been 8. Yeah.
Yeah, thank God I remembered that because that nearly slipped my mind. That I mean, you saw about 6 from the sounds of it from the fog. So, but apparently it was 6-2, so not quite 8-0. But yeah, I mean, it's not quite Sutton levels at Stockport last year. Jack, his team played, lost again.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello. Not good.
Not good.
That's it.
That's it. Nothing else to say. Not quite. Just the 6 goals in that one.
Yeah.
But hey, you got one.
Just about.
Just about. It's not like you had 8. I'm trying to fit in these 8 jokes somewhere, and they're not really falling to place at the minute. I had a great weekend. Town game was called off. Nice and early. What was it? About 11:15 for 12:30 kickoff. Low. Yeah, just mad. Notts County fans furious. The reaction was quite hilarious. It happens. It's winter. Communication could have been handled better. Not our fault. We did everything we can to get the game on. It just happens. Get over it. Instead of calling us, I mean, but Luke mentioned it perfectly. The T word, tin pot. I mean, I've said it a couple of times already in the last few weeks when MK have had games off, but it really is overused. Thinking about it, it's just a little bit pathetic. And some of the reaction from Notts County's end was a little bit pathetic. I understand they was annoyed. I would be if I was them as well. But at the same time, absolutely no. Just no. I mean, look, I had a great weekend. Had a few beers. Stumbled my way home. Slipped on my backside, running for the bus because it was icy. Completely forgot and got home. I was in bed for 8. So there you go. Take what you want from that. Yeah. Did I have 8 pints? No, I don't think I did. I think I had 6. But yeah, that just proves how much of a lightweight I am. Pub talk there. Right, okay. We're going on a bit here. Look, those 2 League Two games on yesterday. We're not going to dwell on them for very long. Well, maybe other than one, because we've got Jack here with us, who has said before recording he's written like some sort of script. So we're interested to hear that. Swindon Crewe finished goalless, and all I saw was fog. So I mean, there's that. I'm not going to dwell on that, but we're really interested to know about Walsall Tranmere. We know that Walsall are pretty good. 8 wins in a row, I think. Absolutely running away with the league. They look the team to beat at the minute. You know, quality and numbers, scoring goals, winning games. Very good. Tranmere. It's not looking good. It's fair to say. Go on, and Jack, I'll leave you to read out your famous script. That's something that's from a Christopher Nolan movie or whatever directors out there. You know, we want to hear it. Take it away.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really going to go too much on it, but I mean, it wasn't good, was it? I was on Sky Sports, so everyone could see. You know, it's as bad as we have been. I think you guys were saying it could have been 10, could have been 8, and it just wasn't a good. It just wasn't a good performance.
It's going to be an all pod, by the way. So strap in.
It just wasn't a good performance. I mean, our captain after the game, he said it's not good enough, but it's been the case all season. We've not been good enough all season. It's sort of full stop. Looking at the stats after the game, 9 of the 11 players that we put out to start that game at the weekend, they've played AFL football for the past 4 seasons, every single season. So how they can not be good enough, if you get what I'm saying? Like, we sign them as AFL players. They have been AFL players for the past 4 seasons. The 2 that haven't, one of them's Connor Jennings, who's probably one of our best performers. So how these players, it's either got to be mismanagement or there's just no effort. That's the way that I see it. It's one or the other. And I kind of think it's a bit of both. I mean, you know, you guys watched it. You look when the first goal went in. It's been the case all season, but as soon as an opposition team scores, we look deflated. We look disinterested. I think it was the one a couple of games ago. We conceded in the, I can't remember who it was against, 80-something minutes, and we just lost it. And we could have conceded so many more, like we'd given up. And it just feels that way. I mean, looking at it, James Norwood, a man who was, well, he brought us up 2 divisions. You know, his work's been undone now. He watched the game yesterday. I can only imagine what he's thinking. He's someone who the team around him and himself gave everything for the shirt. And it just, we look disinterested. And it's one of those things, we've all been in that position as football fans facing relegation. It's just heartbreaking to witness. And I mean, from the management point of view, it's baffling. I mean, we've got 34-year-old Christian Dennis, who's not the fastest, to put it lightly, but we stuck him on the wing. And then we've got Harvey Saunders, who's rapid but can't convert chances up front. It's things like that just don't make sense to us. We've got a young lad, Sol Solomon. He scored goals for fun in the National League, and we're playing him central midfield. And it's one of those things, if we can see it as fans, how can they not? Because I don't see a way around it. And I mean, even Sam Finley, tactically, he's someone who's been slated since yesterday, rightfully so, by the way. But he's a player who's created the most in the team. He's got the highest expected assists in the team. And he's played 14 of the 24 games, you know, and he's caught up to everyone and bypassed that by 7 chances. And you know, I mean, it shows how poorly we create chances, I guess. But you know, he's such a good player in that sort of creation zone. But on the other side of things, he's really, really clumsy. And I mean, it showed it yesterday. He got sent off, and we're sticking with him in defensive midfield. You know, he's got the most cards in the team as well, and he's only played almost just over half of the league games. It makes no sense to me. It's another one. And it's one of those things. I think there's so many things that fans see, and I'm sure the manager, they see them on day-to-day basis. They know better than we do. But as a fan, you look at it and you just have to question things. But from a management point of view, we've got 2 wins in the last 10 league games. We've scored 18 goals in 24 matches, conceded 37, scored the least in the league, not conceded the most, but we're up there. We've failed to score in almost half of our league matches. You know, any other manager would be sacked months ago. I think that's fair to say. But Adkins stays. And it's one of those times, it feels like a repeat. We've been relegated before. It feels like such a repeat of it. It feels like I was going to say sleepwalking, but we're running. We're going full pelt into relegation here. It's
It's not even a fight at the minute from the looks of
no.
it. It's more of a slump.
Yeah, we're we're doing it by our own sort of accord. We look like we give up as soon as we walk on. And I think from a fan perspective, it's so difficult to see and to support. And I don't see how it changes. We're in the works with a takeover. I get it. But you're at the point we're losing every week. We struggled against Carlisle. We didn't do well against Morecambe. Where do you go from that sort of point of view? Where do you go? We're not, we've been rumoured to no one in the window so far, and it's not looking good for the rest of the window. Where do you go from here? We've got a squad that's good enough on paper. We brought them in as good enough players, but something's gone horrendously wrong. I don't know. Do you guys have any sort of outside point of view perspectives on it, or what do you guys think?
Just one
I think
quick
it's almost.
question.
You go.
Obviously, a lot of Tranmere fans wanted John Coleman, who's now gone to Gillingham. So if Adkin does go, who would you want to replace him?
No idea. I think John Coleman's the one. I think he was going to be the only one that would keep us up. And I think you can say it. He's a hard as nails character, I think that's someone that we need. We're losing games and we've got a manager who's continuously positive, and I think it doesn't help in certain situations. John Coleman would have been perfect. I think every Tranmere fan said it. And I don't see a way back. I'll be honest, I don't see a way back, even if we did sack Adkins. We've got some sort of chance without it. But yeah, I wouldn't. I don't think I could pick a name. I think it's just a case of waiting for the takeover, which, who knows? It's meant to be before April, but by that point we'll be already down because Carlisle are improving. So many other teams are improving. Morecambe and Accrington have FA Cup money.
Swindon are picking up points.
Exactly. Swindon are doing well now. Is there a way back? No signings. Same manager. I don't know. Like you say, I don't think that there is a right option for who to bring in that we can afford. I think John Coleman's the one. Geographically, we know he's happy to go on a 6-month deal. He has done. He would have been the one that could have worked well and would have probably taken it on for less money just to get back in the game. Anyone else, I don't know. I doubt it, unfortunately.
Yeah, Coleman just ticks so many boxes. And I think that was probably a little bit surprised I saw him at Gillingham the other week. Not to say that it's a bad move by any means. I mean, look, Gillingham are an ambitious club and whatnot. And, if that's where, that Gillingham wanted to instill a little bit of his wisdom, for the rest of the season to push him up there, and then so be it. You know exactly what the job he does. We've seen the job he did at Accrington. What I will say, I saw a tweet from, because I had a read through Tranmere's Twitter last night. I mean, it's
a bad idea.
It's just full of the wicked and wonderful. Like you see the full-time tweets, and you see 30 likes and about 160 comments, and you think, right, okay, this is going to be good. So I had to read through that, but I also saw one tweet in particular, looking back at when you won promotion out of the National League when you beat Boreham Wood. It sort of brought back something to us, because when we was in a similar situation at Grimsby in, was it 21-22, we looked at our promotion winning team in 2016, that day at Wembley. We beat Forest Green. 5 years in the Football League, and we did absolutely nothing in there. But it's just the memories of that day. It just felt like they were tarnished. It was unbelievable we got out first time of asking. But it's not a walk in the park, that league. You know it. You know it, with the fact that Tranmere have been down there before. It is a difficult league to get out of. And I sort of see similarities, but probably not to the extreme of Tranmere at the minute. The fact that Atkins is there to stay. You've got a squad that are neither so talentless or not bothered, or probably both. At the minute, it's probably a bit of that. You've got The ownership situation is very much up in the air, which doesn't help things either. In fact, it makes things worse. I agree. Adkins should have gone a long time ago, and if it was any other club, he'd have gone by now.
Yeah.
I know it's you pretty much said what you sort of say, but I don't see a way out for Tranmere, and that's the worrying thing. And you've mentioned perfectly, Carlisle are signing all these players. We'll touch on them in a little bit. They're giving themselves a chance of staying up. Morecambe, right? Okay, yes, they might be struggling financially, but trip to Chelsea, that will certainly help things. That they'll certainly give it a go, especially under Derek Adams. Swindon are picking up points, a good one against Crewe. Harrogate, I think we need to see a bit more from them. I think they had that win at Barrow, but they've not been great recently. Accrington have picked up points, and I've just been to Anfield. There's a lot of money in air coppers as well. So, and then you see Tranmere in that list, and there's not really a positive thing to come out of, and that's the concerning thing.
I think, like you say, I've said it time and time again, that National League side, they must be crying out for just anything from this team. Their hard work, like you say, it's being undone. Even when we got promoted from the National League and then League Two the following season, and I've always said it was never about quality. That team was never good enough to get promoted, but they made themselves good enough. It was that they had that passion, they had that desire, and this team couldn't lace their boots, quite frankly. Apart from Connor Jennings, he was in that side. I think it proves that Connor Jennings is our best player, but he's again, he's probably not League Two quality, but the effort he puts in, he can get there and he can reach those standards, and he can be better than everyone else. But yeah, not great.
And that's where we sort of are at the minute. Yeah, I do feel for you. I do, because it's I know exactly what it's like as a fan. It's bloody horrible to say the least. But look, Tranmere may be dreadful, but Walsall are good. Luke, you've got them next week. How do you feel about that one? A side full of confidence of just won 8 in a row. Looking forward to it.
It's a hard one to judge for me because obviously we've already got a new signing in, Jay Williams, and I do think, although it's not necessarily a huge signing, it's one of those that I think it was a profile we were missing. We don't have a physical sort of holding midfielder, and now we've got that guy that can just sit in the pivot and allow our creative players to actually be creative. So people like Liam Kelly don't have to make the most tackles in the game, like what happened last game. However, there is obviously Walsall are just that good, which is the problem. We are one of the few sides that have actually beaten them this season, which is the one thing that's giving me that little bit of hope.
Us too.
So if we do get it, then absolutely. If not, then I don't know. It's just another poor result, and yeah, it's tough to know where we stand. I think this will be a good game to know where we're at the minute and where we need to improve.
Imagine beating Walsall. We lost 4-1 to them. Jay, how did you do this?
We lost 2-0.
There we go then. Big teams lose to
more.
Walsall. Literally pretty much most teams at the minute.
We beat them.
Well, it could have been more, could have been 8, could it?
No.
To be fair, I don't think Walsall, yesterday, they didn't impress me. And it sounds mad to say after they beat us 5-1, I know. But, to be fair, none of this, they didn't get out of first gear. They probably thought they were still warming up in that game. It wasn't a challenge at all. But they did the basics well, but they didn't. It wasn't anything special. I think I said at the start of the season, no team is good enough in this league to win League Two. No one's good enough. It's about being the most consistent. And at the moment, I think, they are the most consistent, but I'm not overly impressed, as mad as it is to say after yesterday.
No, can I just say something to Walsall? It was an interesting discussion that me and my mates were having at the pub yesterday. Look, obviously, take nothing away from Walsall. They're absolutely smashing the league at the minute, running away with it. And if they don't win the league from here, then they've only got themselves to blame for it. But I'm sort of in the same ballpark as you, actually. When we lost 4-1 to them, I didn't think much of them, truth be told. I think we gave them a few goals. That jealous goal that they scored against us was a worldie, but we give them that. But I didn't think they weren't like fully attacking. I think they just knew what their jobs were, and they've got some good players that could kill you. I think one thing that was mentioned as well. This is an awful League Two, an absolutely awful League Two. It's one of the worst I've seen for quite a while. But Walsall have embraced it. Matt Sadler has embraced it. I think one of the main things you need is consistency and recruitment. They've got that bang on, and that's where they are. Yes, all right. They're not the richest club in the league. They've got a little bit behind them, but they're by no means the richest. But they've just absolutely nailed every department, and they deserve to be where they are for a few different reasons. Matt Sadler signing a new contract the other day, unreal business for them. It's probably whatever they do this month, that is the best thing they could possibly do. Maybe keep Nathan Lowe as well, but there's that part to it. But in terms of keeping Matt Sadler, absolutely huge, and you can see that the interest was there. They've absolutely embraced this league, and they certainly look some team to beat at the minute. And Kieran mentioned the fact that they could break the League Two record. I mean, the way things are going at the minute, it is more than possible. Absolutely more than possible. But only time will tell on that part. Anything else to add on that?
Well, I mean, they've not played us again yet, so I'll probably regret saying that now. But no, it's kind of a case of you knew that whoever puts a run together is going to be the team at the top, and that's something they've done brilliantly. It's something Port Vale did relatively well for a while earlier in the season, and then they lost a couple of midfielders. I think losing Garrity was probably the big one, and then they've fallen away. But this Walsall team, they're just keeping at it, and like I said, no one's necessarily super impressed with when they've actually gone and played them. But the thing is, they're getting those basics right, and like I said, no one's actually got that consistency to actually put them away. I mean, hopefully we'll be the team that does, but I'm not going to say we will.
Yeah, they're absolutely yeah.
I know I'm the one that's just started this conversation about how bad the top of the league are, but at the end of the day, they are consistent. I'm so intrigued to see how they do in League One. I think that's what's got me, because if they keep their players,
the collapse.
Yeah.
But yeah, they certainly look like they're very well worthy for it at the minute. We'll move on. Look, I really enjoyed that conversation. There's stuff about Tranmere was interesting. Look, there was another game in League Two. It finished goalless between Swindon and Crewe. I think it's a very good point for Swindon. Maybe I've not seen anything of it. I'm just going off from what I saw. Maybe from what most fans saw, because the game was delayed for quite a period with heavy fog after 5 minutes. So I can't imagine they'd have seen much either. On the faces of it, it's a solid point for Swindon. I think in terms of just looking at it, just on the face of play, just looking at it just straight from a neutral, just looking at the scores that you do at 5 p.m. on a Saturday afternoon, or it was a bit later because they played a bit later because of it. Yeah, you'd certainly say, yeah, that's not bad for Swindon. That is a point, I think, certainly a point towards the right direction.
Yeah, they're just building things up. They're just building things up slowly, and they are actually starting to improve. And it's well, I think getting points off Crewe is particularly impressive, because I think Crewe have been decent of late as well. And I mean, maybe Ian Holloway will be rewarding the team with 8 chicken nuggets each.
Yeah, I believe with double barbecue sauce. Not the thing is, I knew exactly when he said that the other day. It's like, I've heard that before somewhere, and yeah, I was right. It was something to do with our financial situation during COVID. Absolutely right. Sound bites, yeah, just sound bites, man. And they're not very funny now. Anyway, Jake, what was you going to say? You were trying to say? Oh, no.
Yeah, to go to second in the league, get a point against just such a good side in Crewe is really, really good for them. They need to keep building them on it now.
Yeah, they're doing. They're getting there. Yeah, no, it's not the end of the world for Crewe, I don't think. I think they were probably the best team I've seen this season. Right, if we're going through it, just very quick. What would you? We mentioned about Walsall actually for the top of the league. They're doing quite well as it is, and we're taking nothing away from them. But they, Jack's mentioned the fact that he didn't think they were all that, but they know how to win games. But then I've just gone on and said that Crewe were probably the best team. I say just very quickly from all of you, best team you've seen your side play this season. For me, it's Crewe. I think Bradford I thought were pretty good as well, but I thought we were poor. A couple of others, I was really impressed with Barrow early doors, but now they've just fallen off a cliff. So I think those three in particular stand out for me.
I think for me, it was Notts County. I mean, they're the only side that have, actually been able to fully outplay us. Where I feel like, you know what, fair enough, you've actually just done a job on us here, and that's not really happened. Although we've lost way more games than we should have this season, I don't think anyone else has really done that. I wasn't particularly impressed with Port Vale. I mean, they beat us, I think 1-0. Wasn't particularly impressed by them. I was impressed by Doncaster. I mean, they were fighting back with a man down, and they look like a very solid side. And I think who's the other one? I was impressed with Chesterfield the second time around as well. I think there's more to come from them, and they've been hit so hard with the defensive injury. Well, injuries all over the place, really. But I think particularly in defence, because that's where they're weakest anyway. I mean, they're already fixing that problem in January anyway. So I'm grateful we've got our 6 points and we can just not worry about them. Everyone else can deal with them.
Ben Peppel's scoring against us next week. God. I still stand by it. Look, he's clearly done well at Southend, but one of the worst time players I've ever seen. Like, seriously. he looked like he didn't have a brain, bless him. But he's clearly got better since. But yeah, I'm not looking forward to Chesterfield next. Anyway, we're losing track. Jake, what about you?
I'd say Walsall.
Because don't want Man City?
Well, yeah, but they're not in League Two yet. They might be. Who knows?
Yes.
Hopefully not. Charges. I don't want to relive that twice. So keep them in the Premier League, please. But Walsall, when we played them at home, the first half was pretty equal and it was 0-0, I think. Then in the second half, I think they could have scored 3 in 10 minutes and were just so dominant and then went on to win the game very controlledly.
Now, Jack, this might be a difficult one for you because you're losing every week without putting much of a fight. But anyone that's impressed you in some regard this season?
To be fair, in that point, most of the goals we've conceded are our own fault. So I'm, it's struggling to say that other teams have done well because we just cause it. I think when looking at great teams, I look back to January a few seasons ago when Forest Green won the league. They played us off the park and all we could do was just stand and watch and applaud. It was unbelievable. I don't think anyone matches that. So maybe it's a high sort of bar to reach. Walsall did a job. They were fine. I can't run through all of them because we don't have time. But
just the main ones that sort of caught your eye, just as enough. Like
Doncaster was a good game, but again, actually, because we made the mistakes. Chesterfield, we made the mistakes. I was quite happy with Bradford. I thought they played quite well. And Colchester. It's a rogue one, but they beat us 3-0 on the day. And I think they were very, very sort of well drilled. First and second goal came in from the left-hand side, low ball into the box. Very much a training move, and they played it to perfection, and then did it again. And then scored a third to top it off. So I think, Colchester is a sort of like a rogue one, but I think against us, they really impressed me.
Yeah, they've had the moments, haven't they? Yeah, I mean, a couple of you mentioned Doncaster. I was impressed with their attacking display when we played them. I mean, it was our fault. We couldn't defend. I mean, we couldn't. I say we couldn't defend that game. We can't defend this season. It's not been fun. Seeing look, they've scored 3 again. Not quite 8. But you know what I mean. It's just so frustrating. But I really admire Doncaster's attacking threat in particular. I just wish we'd have put a bit more of a fight because it was a bit ludicrous. Some of our defending that was that day, as well as the whole season. Can we just stop conceding 3 every game, please? I've had enough. I've had enough.
Sign it if you want.
No, I'm all right. I remember us conceding. Look, I've seen us concede 7 at Stamford Bridge, but at least we scored. So there's that silver lining to it. Arguably the goal of the game from Matt Green.
Looking at the stats there, we've scored half of your goals, but you scored double our goals so far, Grimsby.
And that's good to hear. That's good to hear. The defensive part isn't.
Yeah, you've conceded more.
Yeah, I think at one point only Swindon conceded more. I'm not sure if that's still the case.
One more goal for Swindon.
Jesus. Yeah, we're ninth. It just proves how rubbish this league is this year. You wouldn't believe it, would you? I mean, look, there's that. Look, it's very much open, and some teams are throwing the book at that. We'll touch on transfers in a minute. Let's touch on a few of the FA Cup games because some of them were in FA Cup action. Jake looks away in disgust. Look, the League Two teams in action. Look, Liverpool beat Accrington 4-0. There's one League Two representative. Morecambe went to Stamford Bridge and lost 5-0 to Chelsea. I'm just running through the Saturday games here. Harriet lost by the solitary goal to Leeds. It looked like a very good effort, that. Just a whopping 8 goals from Manchester City against Carl Robinson, Salford City. It's the same, that's the most amount of goals they conceded in for weeks. It's the same amount, was it the same amount of goals that they played games or something? I think he said just all came in one game. City have the quality, don't they? A little bit disappointed with how City have been this season, that you didn't give them much more of a fight.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't a game that will live long in the memory, unfortunately, but they went very strong compared to what's League Two standard, and they got probably what they deserved. We could have prevented some of the goals, just some of them we just didn't defend at all, and we just let them have too much space, and you know what's going to happen when you let players like that do that. So we probably got what we deserved, but the league is more important. Long live the Papa Johns. The FA Cup is pointless.
I disagree. We get knocked out like the first round. Come back to me when you've made an FA Cup quarter final. I miss those days. Yeah, we didn't even play like one of the so-called big six like Man United or Arsenal. Either than that, look, we played Luton round 4. We beat them thanks to a replay. I could talk about the replays forever because it's an absolute disgrace, to be honest. But that's for a different conversation for whatever with Tamworth. All I can say is absolutely feel for them. To be quite honest, robbed of the opportunity of something life changing. But look,
it was leading up to about I think it was at 850k they could have made minimum.
Yeah,
from a replay.
It's massive for a club like Tamworth, and I can only feel sympathy for them. But that's for a different discussion for another day. The big one probably Doncaster beating Hull. It's quite funny. I love Hull at the minute. I love that Harry Clifton scored the winner, the winning penalty against Hull. Local boy, he absolutely hates those Tigers. Enjoy League One next season. Look, I'm just trying to keep upbeat. As I say, we'd join them there, but we won't. Look, other League Two games. Bromley took the lead at Newcastle, lost 3-1. Looked like a very good display from them. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Doncaster flying the flag for League Two as they're in the 4th round and got a home draw with Crystal Palace. Just all around, look, difficult ties for all of them, especially in Salford's case. But look, they certainly gave it a go. I saw bits of the Accrington game. They certainly did well, I think, for large parts in that one. It was always going to be a struggle, but trips to big grounds like that, it can only help them going forward. And that is a yes. Thank you very much. In other news, Salford conceded 8. Like and subscribe. Cheers. But yeah, it was just what did you make of it? Like the weekend, I think it was pretty much expected for most things. One or two did better than others.
Yeah, it's good to see some moments happening, like Bromley taking the lead and Accrington holding on and doing themselves proud and losing 4-0. But they stayed in the game, they made it difficult and did what we didn't do and actually put up a little bit of a fight, which is good to see.
I think,
yeah. Go on,
it's the FA Cup, isn't it? I think with what it is at the moment, these games, it's a good money making business really for the club. It's a great way to make the money. Bromley went to Newcastle, Doncaster to Hull, and the games yesterday. It's a great money making business, and it puts finances into the club. You're looking there at Bromley, Accrington, Morecambe, all. To be fair, not Bromley, but even Harrogate actually down that bottom end of the table. Like we said before, they're getting the finances that can boost their season. And same with Doncaster and even Salford. Obviously, you lost 8-0, but Still, the finances from it.
Say it again for the people at the back.
The finances you can put towards January, and you can go ahead with it, and fingers crossed you get promoted because you've got the money invested.
I still stand by Salford, one of the worst teams we've seen this season, actually, and yet the third. I think the third. It's just how quick it goes. Look, we'll touch on. Look, I mean, there's that. I mean, yeah, some teams put better fight than others. Yeah, that one. Look, Doncaster in round 4, the one that's made it there. Good on them. Which is a tad disappointing on my side, to be honest. I didn't want them there, but I also don't like Hull, so they've done me a favour there. Right, okay. Look, let's touch on the transfer window's open. Town have been linked with one bloke, but from the Faroe Islands, and it's all just very quiet over there. I expected it to be quiet, but there we go. So there's that in a minute. That's a transfer section done. We'll see you next time. No, but especially at Tranmere, of course, because nothing's happening and probably won't happen. Whereas I'm very confident we will do something. I'm not sure about Tranmere, but there's that. Look, right. Some of the teams we expected Carlisle to be busy. They have been. Was it 5 or 6 in? Paul Dummett, Elliot Embleton, to name a couple. Will Patchin. They've got a loan lad, I think, from Sheffield United.
Yeah.
They're doing exactly what I thought. Bradford, they've doing a fair bit. I like the signing of Michael Mellon, Tommy Lee, leaving MK Dons to join them as well. George Lapsley joining them, and what's his name from Birmingham? Brandon. I can't remember. It's something like that. It's Brandon. I'm so bad at names. Keeler. That's the one. Cheers. Bromley spent 6 figures on a striker from Barnet, Nikita Bamba. Look, that's just ridiculous enough, to be quite honest. I mean, it's a very good signing for the type that Bromley are, but I think, there's not really much to say. Chesterfield are doing bits. Jan Oyden, Asiennes are signing alike. There's rumours about Dylan Markande's future. It looks like he's going to be getting recalled by Blackburn. I think Leyton Orient seem to be the next destination for him. So that's a big blow for them. There's rumours about James Berry moving on as well, with Blackpool sniffing around. So look, there's a couple of things in the offing. Some clubs have been busier than others. Jay Williams in at MK Dons as well, ringing up your good friends at Crawley Town, who I'm convinced they're the only number you have on your contacts book. I mean, look, it doesn't help that Scott Lindsay's now there, so that's just gone up a notch. As if it didn't do in the summer. But look, I mean, any standout signings that you've probably seen. Look, we've been trying to do shorts like on social media, like talking through these. But any like particular signings that that's maybe stand out for you at all? There's a couple there for me.
I think aside from our own, because I've already mentioned Jay Williams, obviously I'm gonna have words to say on him always, but I think the one that stands out for me is actually Elliot Embleton, because I know for a fact that we were after him in the summer when Mike Williamson was obviously here, and obviously things haven't worked out for us, but it's just very, very clear proof that they are going to back him, which means he's got more time.
I expected it. And it's the least I expected as well, because we knew that they had money and we knew that their squad needed something doing. Otherwise, they were dropping down into non-league, and they're certainly doing that. I mean, Paul Dummett in particular, bringing that experience. But I've seen Elliot Embleton play for us at League 2 level, absolute class.
Well, it's a bit of a gamble though at the same time, isn't it? Because
it is.
You make that many transfers in the middle of the season, and suddenly you've got this whole sort of gelling period, and no one likes to talk about that sort of part of football where the players have to get used to playing with each other. And I mean, I think they're something like 5 points adrift at the minute, something like that, roughly. It's an uphill climb either way. He's going to have to turn things around very quickly, and the key's going to be motivation again, and that's where Williamson falls down. He seems to be on the right track because the performances are improving. Whether that will work with this sudden influx of new players, because there are a lot of new players, and he's probably not bringing them in to sit on the bench. So there's going to be a lot more change, and it's just whether that will combine into something that's at least enough to get them away from relegation.
And look, relegation for them would be absolutely disastrous. We said this all along. I do agree that there needed to be changes because some of those players have been appalling. I don't think the manager's helped. It seems like with the fans, he's starting to get on the right side a little bit. I've heard that he came across well in the fans forum the other day that Carlisle had. But ultimately, it's a results-driven business, and that's what it'll be judged on. And they need points. It's as simple as that. If they don't get points very quickly, they're going down. But he certainly gives them that fighting chance. But I agree that, with so much turnover of players, you only get a short period, if any period, because the game's coming thick and fast at the minute, to get them all together. I remember when we went down in, I'm going back to our relegation season of 21-22. We pretty much, it felt like we did a whole pre-season in January. I think that's the only way I could put it. We knew that we had players that were simply not good enough. I questioned if they were National League standard, quite a lot of them. So Pullhurst came in and, he tried so hard. I think we must have won about 10 players in January. And we got better. But ultimately, it was just too little too late. There's that element to it. And that was at a point where we wasn't actually in the relegation zone either. When Pullhurst joined, or when Ian Holloway resigned, we were just outside it. As much as Holloway likes to say that, we wasn't in a relegation like position when he left, which was just absolute rubbish. We were heading one way there. But I sort of get that vibe from it. But I mean, there's players there. There's some that he knows, like he knows Paul Dummett from his playing days. Embleton is class if he can stay fit. That's the big if though, because he's an unreal player. I've seen it firsthand. He's got a lovely goal against MK Dons in the FA Cup a few years back when we beat you lot 3-1 there. Good day that. But Will Patchen scores goals. A little bit about his attitude though, maybe at times that were mentioned by Derry. And yeah, there seem like more to come. That's certainly not the end of them. There'll be a few more yet. There'll be a few more out as well. I mean, John Mellish left yesterday. I saw, which was an interesting one, but it sounded like he wanted to leave, so you can't really argue with that. They've got a lot of work to do. It's as simple as that. But they've certainly given themselves the best fighting chance they can. But ultimately the jury will be out on Mike Williamson to get them gelling as quick as he can, but also getting results. Because a few bad results and his job's on the line. I mean, I think it probably is already at the minute. Not in the best regard of Carlisle fans, but I think maybe some bridges have been sort of repaired or sort of getting mended. They're nowhere near from it yet. They've got a lot of work to do, as I've mentioned. Anyone from Jack, Jay, anyone that's caught your eye, just in particular, it might be someone from Carlisle. Any signing that we think, right, okay, this is a bit of a game changer?
I'm a big fan of the Headley one to Port Vale. He's made loads of appearances last season in the Championship, Huddersfield, and then was on the fringes a little bit this season, but he's still more than better than League Two players. So I'm surprised Huddersfield let him go, but it's a hell of an addition for Port Vale and Darren Moore.
Certainly, Jack.
I think I've been really, just from a team perspective, really impressed by Bradford. Putting money, finally, into the signings. I think there's a couple more I can't remember for the life of me who they're looking at, but there is a couple more looking to come through the door. So that'll be interesting. They finally put money down. I think they've had a really good window, and it's the first in a long time where they can sort of look hopeful towards the future. I like Michael Mellon signing for them, mainly just for the fact that his dad managed Andy Cook when he was at Tranmere, and now he's playing with Andy Cook. I just love that fact. Well, he's not, but he could have been. I just love that fact. But I think the most impressive one for me would be Will Jarvis for Notts County. I think it's gone under the radar from everyone. Young lad on a really, really long contract. I can't do the maths on that, but it's a big contract. Really impressed already. Had a few Championship appearances. I am looking forward to watching him. I think it'll be a really good player.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, that was the one that's, being based around this area with, BBC on the side. We sort of, I do hear a little bit from Hull, and they certainly hold Jarvis in great regard. It certainly looks like a very good pickup for Notts County on a long-term deal. And certainly one that, that could thrive in League Two. I like the signing of Michael Mellon. Did ever so well at Morecambe a couple of seasons back. Didn't quite work out at Stockport. I think he had an injury. But if it can, it's always going to be tough to replace Andy Cook's goals because we know that his season's done now. I think we sort of knew at the time when we recorded the pod last week, but it was confirmed in the week. So that's a blow. That's a blow for Bradford there. What was you going to say, Jack?
I say it's definitely a blow considering he's League Two's best striker in a long time. I'll still stand by that. So I think it's a huge blow.
Yeah, and let's be honest, he's been their huge source of goals. We've mentioned a few times Andy Cook FC. Whether he scores 8 in a game, it's up for debate. It's something he needs to do. Hi, Jake. Good. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, you can see that this is all going well. I really wanted to try and fit as many in here as possible, as much as rubbish as they sound. But yeah, look, there's that. I mean, George Lapsey can get goals from midfield. I really like their midfield options now. They look, there's a good blend of defensive quality and attack threats. I think they might probably lose 1 or 2. There's been stuff about, I don't know, is it Walker? One of them. I think someone like him might move on. I mean, you're also looking at
Walker's rumoured to be joining us on loan, I think, which I could absolutely see happening. And then Vidane Oliver as well.
So you are making a signing?
Well, yeah, he won't join, but in theory. Yeah, I take that back, actually. Yeah, we've made one rumour. Yeah. But then Vidane Oliver as well, if they can get that contract sorted out, because he's on a stupidly high wage.
Yeah,
and they've recalled Ollie Sanderson as well. So you've got 3 strikers there who could leave. Could anyone else replace him?
Yeah, and I don't think the departures they've had, like in Sanderson's case, I don't think it's massive. It's a massive loss. I think Mellon's 10 times a player than what he is if he can recapture that form here that he did at Morecambe. Look, I've been really impressed with Bradford's business. I'm sure there's more to come, and it looks like that they look like they're on the right lines to actually try and do something, because for so long we look at Bradford and we just think, right, okay, you're 12th, 5th, 13th, you might sneak 8th, might make 7th in the playoffs like they did the other year and lost to Carlisle. But the Bradford are a big club. They've been down in this division too long, and it seems like they look like they're on the right lines for a little bit of intent. Because honestly, with this transfer window is so open in terms of where the teams around us. It's so important teams get this right, because it can literally make or break your season, especially at the top end of the table fighting for promotion with how tight it is. It's important teams have a good season. And if you invest just that little bit, you're up there. You're in with a chance. I think some clubs more than others have notified that. There's still half the month to go, just over. But, it's so tight and so dreadful, this league this year, that it really can be anyone's if you just get it spot on, just in one or 2 places, and that's what it, and just that's just what I feel with it. Like it's so open and just so awful that anyone can get promoted this year. Not Tranmere, but anyone can get promoted. I mean, how's the playoff run going, Nige? Yeah, I don't think. I think you might just miss out on that.
I know, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, not much in it though. Not much in it. But yeah, that's where we are with it. It just. Do you agree with me there? Because I just feel like, as much as clubs have got quality, if you just invest just that little bit, like maybe some clubs have at the minute, some more to come, you're right up there. I mean, results will obviously say that, but recruitment is equally just as important this month. What you do, and also what you don't do, arguably at times, keeping hold of some players. Am I talking rubbish? Because I just feel that's just what I get from it.
No, it makes a lot of sense, and there's never been a better chance to get promoted. There's only one side that's pulling away, and almost half of the league is in contention for those other 2 spots, which is ridiculous. I mean, almost every game week we're looking at a different team in second place. Like, anyone that does get this January right will, as you say, be up there in some capacity, and anyone that doesn't show strength they'll be decided to fall away and will end up probably bottom half of the division, which seems crazy to say, but for teams that are in potential automatic promotion contention. But to be honest, I wouldn't even be surprised if there's a team down low, like proper down low, that rises up. Maybe Colchester will finally come good after all these months of us talking about them not being there yet. Maybe they will. Maybe someone will. But it really is so open, and I mean that's probably why you're seeing Carlisle as well. They're committing to it. I mean, chances are they're probably not going to get that high up, but while it's this close, why not? Like there are so many teams involved that you're guaranteed for some of them to be dropping points every single week, and no one has that consistency. So wherever you are in the table, why not go for it?
You know who I'm intrigued the most? Chesterfield. That's the one I'm looking at. I know they've had a couple of injuries this season and they've been quite inconsistent, but already I think the signing of someone like Janoy Donasien from Ipswich, held in high regard over there, they absolutely love him at Ipswich. That's if that's the type of caliber that the player that they're bringing in, then yeah, I don't know. It's just one of them.
I think their season's the one that can make or break. I think, and like you said, the signings today have been great. That's without doubt. But they've lost out on so many targets already, I think, which is worrying to see. And then if both wingers go, the two best players, I think, I would say without doubt, the two best players from Chesterfield's team.
Yeah, I think it looks like Markande's going. There's strong rumours about James Berry as well. But you just know Chesterfield are going to spend. Whether they get that right is another question. They just will. I think they will. I just get that feeling. I thought that was a good side anyway. On paper, cracking side. They score goals. Yes, they're inconsistent. Yes, they've had a lot of injuries recently. But it's a good squad there. And I really like it. We'll have to see if Ben Pepple's the answer, because if it's anything like his spell at us, then he's got no chance. Sorry, lads. Watch him score a hat-trick, all right, next week.
I think like teams like Crewe and Salford, you're not spent as much yet. Let's put it that way, yet. And you've got teams below them. You've got Port Vale, Notts, who've made one good signing, but still a good signing. MK. Can they squeeze up Bradford? They're putting serious money in. Can they squeeze up the table? You've got those sides that if they don't spend, how likely is it that they're going to slowly slip away?
Just on a personal perspective, just on your team, just something maybe to wrap the last bit of maybe this podcast up. What do you think your teams need? If we're going off Grim, the thing is with Grimsby, it's weird because I've seen maybe some question the ambition of our owners in this. But I always was under the impression we would not be busy at all. 2, 3 absolute max. I thought we've needed another centre half because we've been shipping goals left, right, and centre. Another winger because we really lack pace. I think they were the 2 ones that we needed. There is talk about some midfielder from abroad and from overseas, but we'll have to see on that one. And the more I think about it, the more maybe it could be all right. But then you've got that, he needs that period to settle in. We've seen that, Svan Thorsen's getting there. Not quite there yet, but there's maybe that. But you also look at it on the flip side. Look at someone like Curtis Thompson, who's played about 3 games this season. I like Curtis Thompson, but it's keeping him fit in the minute, which seems to be the biggest problem. And it sounds like we really want to play George McEachran further upfield, which he certainly got the technical ability yesterday. Yeah, by the way, I'm sort of annoyed at my mates for saying that McEachran is the most overrated. He was one of the most overrated players in the team. I am not having that. He's one of the most underrated players in the league. I wanted to throw my pint at them. So that's pretty much where I am. I didn't expect us to be busy. A couple of players I think could leave, but I think they're out of contract in the summer anyway. But if we can get them out the door early this month, then great. But we was never going to be busy. But a winger and I think a centre half from a must. I mean, look, we still got Vernon to come back on the wing as well. Could be the difference, but you're relying on Charles Vernon is just not going to happen. Quality player, but he's never keeping fit. That's the annoying thing. So that's pretty much where we are. What about you? I mean, look, Salford, decent position. Luke, MK, all right, could be better, but certainly not bad. And then there's Tranmere, who are dire straits, to be quite honest.
How long do you
have? Whole new team for Tranmere, is it?
Yeah, I think team, staff, backroom staff, owners, I'm not asking for a lot, am I?
No, I don't think so. We'll have to see, won't we? I'm really intrigued about Salford, Jake, actually. What about you? Like, well, I mean, what sort of thing in which, right, actually, you look at your team, because obviously you've done really well in recent weeks. You know, a lot of clean sheets in there. You've won games. But is there anything that's maybe you've looked at and think, right, okay, we could maybe do with trying to upgrade in this position?
I was thinking centre-back, and then we lost our best centre-back going back to Oxford.
Yeah,
So
that's a blow, actually.
we have to replace him. I think we should just go big for him, because we've obviously got money in from yesterday. And he was literally at the game, even though Oxford were playing. So it's not like it's in on my loan. I'm just not bothered anymore. I think go big for him. Why not?
Now, that's certainly one thing to address, probably soon enough. Look, we've had this discussion loads of times. Look, we know that MK have a big squad. We know that it sounded like you were really keen to shift a few players on. You have done that so far. I mean, the Williams signings there as well. I mean, sort of, where do you stand at the minute? Basically, is this, because it's an interesting one over there, I think.
Well, I think we've already sort of got the signing we needed most. We had such a imbalance in midfield of we have so many creative players, but no one to protect the three centre backs. So Williams is the guy to do that. But he still has some technical ability, and we do have someone like Kane Thompson-Sommers, but he doesn't quite have that experience yet. Whereas Williams, you'd hope, would be a bit more reliable with the experience he's got. I do think there are other positions where we need to, get someone in, just a bit more depth. I think the main one I'm looking at is wing back, because we've got Aaron the main on one side and we've got Joe Tomlinson on the other, probably two of the best wing backs in the league, to be fair. But beyond that, the only other natural wing back we've got is Brooklyn and Lunga, who's totally unproven. So you don't actually really have anyone pushing for that wing back spot on either side, really. So I'd say that's a priority. I'd then say with the injuries to Lawrence Maguire, maybe cover for left centre back, but that's maybe being greedy considering how we've got 9 that are capable of starting there. But our squad is huge.
Jack, was you going to say something like that?
Yeah, I was going to ask, would you take Cam Norman back? I'm not offering him else here, but what's your opinions on him? Would you want him back?
I actually like him. I probably would, to be fair. But the one thing with him is second half of last season, we brought in Kyron Lofthouse on loan, who kind of took his spot, and then Norman kind of became a right centre-back in the free. And right centre-back in the free is probably the last position we need right now. So it's one of them. Beyond that, I mean, you can look at our attacking players. We've got so many. It doesn't mean we're not going for anyone in those positions. Supposedly we're linked with Ronan Darcy, of course, yet another Crawley player. So there you go. And
Crawley, right? Okay, who have you got on special this week then?
We're not going to take many more than that. I'd hope not, anyway, because although these players have worked so well under Lindsay previously, that was on a shoestring budget. We can do a whole lot more than that. And, I think it's great initially, especially halfway through a season, because I think anyone decent is going to be, their price tag is going to be well above their actual value. But when it gets to the summer, I don't really want to see any more Crawley players. I want to see, players with a bit more pedigree coming down to join us and get the mighty franchise back into the Championship.
That sounds horrific, and I hope that never happens. As much as losing 8-0, I'd quite like to not see that. I had to get that in there. Look, I'm sorry. Look, Jake, I'm sorry, mate. It needed to be done. I just wanted to get as many in as possible. I'll stop now.
Oh, you hate to see
it. 58th minute. How nice.
I didn't even clock that. I did not even see that. But now you've mentioned it, you sort of just fell right into it. I think we'll wrap it up there. I really enjoyed this. I'd like to think there'll be more games next week that we maybe just have a look through. But I've really enjoyed this chat. We'll see if we can do more of these sort of ones. Okay, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure you go download the podcast, subscribe. We're really trying to make a push on YouTube for subscribers as well. So if there's anything, if you could just take the moment to subscribe, that'll be really appreciated. Some cool stuff coming your way. As the time of speaking, we're currently on 424 subs, 8 more, and we're on 432. Yeah, I'll wrap it up now. Right, okay, thank you guys for listening. Yeah, it's been great to talk about League Two again. Look, we'll be back next week for more talk and more Tranmere being Tranmere. That's I think.
I hope not.
And and Salford, actually not conceding goals again. Right, okay. All right, we'll see you all next week. Thank you guys for listening. Cheers.